Morning guys, it's April the 22nd. I'm Henry Green from London Trading Group. Just going to run through what we're looking for in the markets today. Okay, so dollar yen in the last hour has jumped significantly. We've had a sort of a nearly 100 pip rally in dollar yen, so obviously all the crosses have gone significantly more than this. And this is because Japan are eyeing double-barreled stimulus to ease the yen, the strain on the yen. So equivalently, the yen has been significantly strengthening, as you guys have probably seen over the last few trading weeks. And what we've had is this fall down from we've come off from 120 odd down to we've got down to into the 107. So interestingly, the Japanese economy now is seen as not competitive to have the yen this strong, and so active weakening has been happening. But a lot of people have come out, a lot of the major economies have come out and said that they don't want that to happen, so they're going to have to now fire both fiscal and monetary barrels in the coming weeks to help the recovery. I'm just reading that off CNBC. So have a look at that, guys. Have a bit more about that. As I said, I'm not really interested in the fundamentals, but it's good to know why. I mean, that jump happened. It's technically a buy anyway. You kind of come into this 200 moving average. And I was looking at this potentially as a buy down at 109.40 anyway. Had a good level of support down at 109.40, and I think that was then probably, looking for a leg up anyway. So I think that's probably why. And as what we can do now is just move this trend line out. So this is, I think that was probably, obviously you couldn't have said that was going to happen with that speed, but certainly I think that it was probably expected that we were going to have that jump in dollar yen. Especially off the back of yesterday's close, just to kind of back down at support at 109.40 and then potentially see this trade higher. So now I see this probably getting up towards 110.60 is the target. I've got a good level of resistance up at 110.25, and through that then you back up to test 111.30. So we just see how that could potentially play out. So we're looking for 111.30 as the target. Which is probably going to be the D. Yeah, so the D is perfectly at 111.30. So I just expect this to rally, probably pull back, just play this like a normal fib sequence. And I'm looking for 111.30 to be tested, sort of probably early next week, if not into the middle of next week. So I think dollar yen's probably a buy. But again, this move's gone now, so you've got to be looking for pullbacks to be buying dollar yen, I think, again now. Euro dollar interestingly had a rallied obviously when Draghi came out at 12.45 and then came off as it normally does during the press conference. We're back down now at that towards 112.75 area. So I've got a good level of support down here. Obviously I don't really like that rejection off the highs yesterday, and you've probably got to be looking at the short side in the euro dollar at the moment, just on the back of that rejection. Things aren't still rosy in euro, and potentially this idea of helicopter money was written off the board. It's not kind of going to happen, but they're still in trouble, and certainly it wasn't very bullish in terms of the eurozone with what Draghi said. So I'm looking potentially this to go lower anyway. I think that we could be potentially forming a little bit of a head and shoulders maybe on the day. So maybe you have that. This is the sort of right shoulder potentially, and now we see the break lower. So I'm just going to watch it certainly through 112.75. I think this is probably going to be a short. In terms of the fibs, did we take out the highs? No, we didn't quite get to the highs, so that's fine. So this fib sequence is still in play, and so you can still be looking to play this one, and that just takes us back down to the lows. We're looking down towards 112.50, so there's not much to get on that first swing. However, if you do get that first high low, we've rejected off this, we've gone through this counter trend line now, we're now lower. So what I'm going to be looking for is for that break, and potentially now we go lower in this one. So euro I think is pretty mixed up. It's difficult to be buying it off yesterday's close, especially off the rejection from the sort of 114 highs which it got up to. So certainly I'm going to be looking for that short side today. I don't think there's a lot in it though. Okay, so cable just false broke anyway, as well as the euro dollar. So we had that false break upwards through 144, and then it just collapsed again. We are now back at this moving average that's been holding really nicely. On the daily chart, again, it's just really looks like a nice rejection. If you guys have a look back at the previous days, every time it's had this significant push up, you've had an indecision day and then it's rejected. So we had a rejection and indecision day, and now potentially we're there, and I think potentially now we can come off. The only thing I don't like is that we've got the moving averages all coming around on the day. So if we have a look for the short side, how far can we go down? Well, this is going to have to be the new fib on the short side, because there's not another one to do at the moment. So this will be the next fib. So we're looking potentially for this to be a sell zone, and certainly if it gets up towards 143.90, I think that's probably quite a good zone to be looking for the short side. So certainly 85.90 area, I think I'll be looking for the shorts up there, and then to potentially take that down towards 142.40. So that makes sense. I think maybe we have a little blip higher, and then we come off in cable. So I'm just going to be looking for that one. The only thing I don't like about this, and potentially why we could see this higher, is this was the big counter trend line that we went through, or the trend line, not the counter trend line, the trend line that we went through. We broke it, and now we've had quite a bit of time above it now. So maybe this is out of play, and we are now potentially got to look for the top side. In which case, we ran onto the 127 and held. We didn't quite pull back to the 38. Again, we failed at the 78.6, and now this could still be a fast move, and we go and take out the highs again. So just be wary of cable. I don't think it's super clear, and so I'll probably stay away from that one. As I said, we've talked about dollar yen, dollar CAD. Let's have a look at what dollar CAD did. So dollar CAD had a bit of a bounce yesterday. It's just done exactly the same as what it seems to always do once it's taken the lows out. Has a nice indecision, and we get a bearish close, and then we rally, and then we have one more day of rally normally, or maybe a little bit more, but we fail to take these highs out. So I think that you've probably got a few more swings up in dollar CAD. I don't feel it goes lower straight away. So let's have a look. If we put this fib in now, this is where we're looking for. So the next level up, look for support, and then we're potentially looking to play this. The D's up at 128.25, which kind of makes a bit of sense. 128 looks like a good level. So if we manage to pull back in towards this zone, 126.65, then we see that rally up towards 128. I think that's probably quite a good play. But as I said, you've got to be a little bit more careful with this one at the moment, because I think it's potentially in a bit of a chop. We think it's down. So we're looking for potentially the shorts. They're just not ready to be played yet. So I think dollar CAD probably does rally again today. Aussie dollar, we're getting back down to that trend line in Aussie. We do think Aussie's a buy, so I'm going to look for the buy in this one still today. We've got down to this custom moving average again, which it seems to like. So, oops. Let's just put this back in again. So what I'm going to see today is whether we can. We had that nice push up to that. We just all we've done is we've retraced back to 38 now, so we are back down to 77.35, and it looks like we're making a lower high. So just be wary of this one. But what I do like is we are at this outer trend line, and this for me becomes quite a high probability bounce zone. So if we do get a rejection there, maybe it blips to 200, then we potentially see this go higher. I've got a daily level in at 77.14, so I'm just going to put that in now. Let's see where that is. 77.14. So just here. So I'm looking at that as a potential rejection zone to see whether we get a blip down into that, and then look for the potential, look for the buy down there, or look for a bit of Aussie strength to kick in. It does for me now look like we could rally. It does look like we could pull back. We've pulled back into the sell zone as well. So this is again quite complicated and not the clearest. So potentially I'm just going to wait for these markets to move. I'm not seeing anything clear at the moment, and therefore often when I read it like that, it often just goes sideways. Kiwi, we're back down at that trend line again, the magic trend line that holds. So you've got to be looking for the long down here. It really does hold really well, this one. So let's put this one in. And if we are still in an uptrend in Kiwi, which I think we are, you've just got to be looking for buys certainly down here. So we've completed the D here. This could be the only one that looks all right. And what happens is often if you get the first push, it will fail down at the 127. So you could get that first move down, and then we rally. So we're only back in the buy zone in terms of the big fibs, and I'll certainly be looking for rejection down here, somewhere in this zone, see if I can pair it up with something else. But the EMAs have crossed over now, and we are potentially turning. You see how when we rejected off it last time, we still had a few. Oh no, we didn't. Okay, fine. So all the EMAs were over it as well that time. So I'm just going to wait for this one, but certainly I think that we look like a buy zone in here should we hold. Okay guys, that's a quick flash through the markets. As I said, I don't think normally I can give you an answer as to exactly where the market's going. I think I could argue both of them go either way. So I'm just going to probably look to the crosses, see if I've got anything clear set up in that, and then look to play those probably for today. So hope that's been useful. I'll be back next Monday with an update for Monday. Click subscribe to never miss a video again. Hope that's been useful, and happy trading, and I'll see you on Monday.